The boom arm dropped like a guillotine onto the hood of a white Lexus, setting off a honk that sounded like a goose in existential agony. And in that moment, every last illusion I had about suburban peace just evaporated. Behind the wheel, Sandra Claremont, all platinum hair and oversized pearls, HOA badge flashing like she was TSA at LAX, started pounding the horn and unleashing a shriek that could probably etch glass. You ever see a crowd gather like it's a reality show taping? That was Tuesday morning on Buttonwood Court, coffee mugs in hand, everybody peeking over their hedges to see the drama unfolding at my driveway. Yeah, that happened. Let me back up a sec. Name's Miles Rohr, 40, tech consultant, mostly invisible to the world, collector of way too many coffee grinders, my ex-wife's biggest complaint, maybe the only thing she and Sandra could ever agree on. Moved to Buttonwood Court after the divorce. Picked a place called Cedar Quarry. No cedars, no quarry, just HOA rules that make the IRS look easygoing and a neighbor next door who excavates gossip like it's her side hustle. I keep my head down, mow at 9 sharp, hedges trimmed so crisp you could do geometry off, and nod at the mailbox without risking actual conversation. That was my version of peace. Then Sandra happened. Sandra, who didn't just become HOA president, she staged a coup and took over because the last guy said the dues were fine where they were. She started using my driveway like it was her overflow lot, usually during her so-called mandatory spirit events at the clubhouse that nobody ever wanted to attend. At first, she asked nice, knocked at 8, fake smiled, swore it was just 4 one-hour tops. You know how that goes. For hours later, my driveway's still blocked, and she's gone home with my space as her new territory. After that, it became for the good of the community. Trash day? My driveway. Holiday bunko night with 6 cars at the clubhouse? My driveway. She'd talk to me like I was a well-meaning but slow child, something about efficiency and community optimization. Meanwhile, she lived 3 doors down with a perfectly good, empty driveway. I tried notes, polite, even. She answered with neon orange HOA citations, printed up like traffic tickets. One accused me of unauthorized signage for leaving a post-it on her windshield. Another claimed the concrete of my driveway was too reflective, a hazard to drivers' eyesight. Never mind that my driveway faces away from the street. Then she started backing in so close, my motion sensors would light up the bedroom like Vegas, and every ring alert sounded like a security breach at Fort Knox. Twice I caught her peeking through my side gate before dawn, pretending to verify setbacks for an architectural committee that was just her and Donna, who, rumor had it, only existed as a line item in the meeting minutes. Things went from mildly unhinged to full-on psychological warfare. She made up a new bylaw, vehicular hospitality, typed in Comic Sans, distributed to every mailbox. Told the book club I'd volunteered my driveway for neighborly cohesion. Even created a shared Google Calendar for Buttonwood driveway schedule with my address in bold, as if this was a hotel. I read the HOA CC and RS twice. Vehicular hospitality is not a thing. Driveways are private property, period. But Sandra? She doubled down. Petty citations started rolling in. Trash cans too far from the curb, then too close, then grass 1/8 of an inch too tall on a Wednesday, which, according to her, violated midweek presentation standards. She measured my mailbox, declared it non-compliant by 2 inches, then cited me for excessive bird attraction because of a bird bath in my backyard, visible only if you're snooping over a 6-foot fence at sunrise. The final straw? Came home one Thursday, tired and just wanting dinner, and found her Lexus diagonally parked across my entire driveway. Engine off, windows cracked, purse on the seat, like she owned the place. Taped to my door was a citation, threatening $500 per day fines if I blocked her egress or impeded her vehicular rights, citing bylaws that didn't exist and decorated with a little smiley face. You know what I mean? That night, running on adrenaline and caffeine, I decided I was done playing nice. I installed a motorized boom barrier at the end of my driveway, yellow and black stripes, LED lights, keypad, infrared safety sensor, and a sign citing state trespass law in all caps. 6 hours of work, hired a pro surveyor to confirm the property line, measured everything to the inch. The next morning, 7 a.m. sharp, Sandra arrived. She got out in her real estate power suit, looked at the barrier like it was a cursed artifact, and tried to lift it by hand. No dice. She grabbed a box cutter, went at my caution tape, then punched every code she could think of into the keypad, including her birthday. When all else failed, she called the non-emergency police line, her voice trembling with fake concern about unpermitted gates obstructing emergency services. 15 minutes later, 2 patrol cars showed up, lights flashing, no sirens. They checked my survey stakes, reviewed my laminated permit, admired the wiring, "Where'd you get this installed?" then left. One took my business card for his brother. Sandra wasn't finished. She went to her trunk, got a 9-iron, and came back like she was about to tee off at Augusta, then swung at the boom arm. The safety mechanism triggered, dropped the arm right onto her hood with a thunk, set off her car alarm, and unleashed that ridiculous honk, plus the boom's own 120 decibel siren. If you want a scene, this was it. Alarms, Sandra screaming, neighbors recording on their phones. But the real kicker? My security cameras got audio of Sandra, in a full rage, vowing to teach Miles a lesson about community hierarchy, and bragging about her connections at City Hall, and the mayor, who, fun fact, had moved to Florida months earlier. I compiled everything into an evidence package, footage, audio, timestamps, the whole deal. Sent it to City Code Enforcement, every HOA board member, but Sandra, the community liaison officer, even the local news. Code Enforcement got back within hours. Boom barrier was 100% permitted. On my property, Sandra's vandalism would be addressed as criminal mischief. The HOA vice president, newly awakened after years in Sandra's shadow, called an emergency meeting for Friday night. Meanwhile, police served Sandra with a trespass warning. And, this is real, requested she keep all sports equipment away from other people's property. That board meeting? Standing room only. Neighbors pressed against the windows, tension thick enough to slice. I brought popcorn. I brought printed evidence. Exhibit packets labeled A through D. Exhibit A. 12 incidents of Sandra parking in my driveway, spreadsheet included. Exhibit B. Audio of her inventing vehicular hospitality and plotting with Donna to train me through strategic parking. Exhibit C. 37 emails citing me for everything from hostile garden gnome, I don't even own one, to aggressive sidewalk chalk art, just hopscotch my niece drew. Exhibit D. Dash cam footage of Sandra, 2 a.m., moving stolen traffic cones and creating a fake detour straight to my driveway. Sandra's lawyer tried to spin it, but even he looked like he'd rather be at a dentist appointment. The board attorney, stone-faced, explained that trespassing is illegal, HOA position or not, and fabricating street closures is, city property theft. The board voted 6-0 to censure Sandra. She tried to vote, was reminded she'd been suspended. She called it a kangaroo court. Someone shouted, "Kangaroos have better standards." Got a standing ovation. By Monday, consequences hit like a summer thunderstorm. Sandra, removed as HOA president, fined $8,000 for property damage, hit with a restraining order so specific it listed my mailbox by name, and sentenced to 30 days in county jail, suspended, as long as she behaves, and 40 hours of community service. Now, she directs traffic at the actual community gate during rush hour, in a vest 2 sizes too big, waving cars away from private driveways. When I drive past, I give her the classic 2-finger wave, just like always. Her face goes purple to match that infamous pen ink of hers. And the funny thing is, some neighbors still argue about whether I went too far. Was I protecting my property, or just escalating a suburban Cold War? Was Sandra a menace, or just misunderstood? You tell me, drop a comment below. Where do you draw the line between standing up for yourself and becoming the story everyone gossips about next? And what would you have done if you were in my shoes? Because out here, behind these picket fences, everyone's got their own version of justice.